Consumed by fury over her husband's betrayal, Marina shoved clothes into a suitcase, her hands trembling, her vision blurred by rage and disbelief. She couldn't bear to look at him, the man who had shattered 20 years of trust. The quiet suburban home they once called their sanctuary now felt cold, foreign and hostile. Just as she was about to leave through the back door, the metallic scrape of a key turning in the front lock sliced through the silence. Her breath caught. Panic surged. She took a step toward the yard but then froze. Voices, not just one, but two, and one of them was unmistakably female. Rewind to that sleepless night. The bedroom lay in darkness. Marina stared at the ceiling, her body tense, ears straining to the soft, familiar rhythm of Oleg's breathing beside her. He'd just returned from a business trip, curling up the way he always had for the past 2 decades. But then his phone buzzed, half asleep. She glanced at the screen, not expecting her entire world to tilt. A message glowed in the dark. "My silk tiger, you were incredible. I already miss you. Thank you for these 2 unforgettable days." Her fingers turned ice cold, her stomach twisted into knots. While she thought he was away on business, he had been with someone else. Someone else had touched him, kissed him, whispered to him. She stumbled to the bathroom on unsteady legs, clutching the sink as icy water poured over her hands and face. In the fogged mirror, a woman she barely recognized looked back. Hollow eyes, pale skin, 20 years, she whispered. 20 years of lies. By morning, Oleg was all smiles, shoveling toast into his mouth. "You look pale," he said, glancing at her. "Didn't sleep well." "I had a dream," she replied quietly, placing a cup of coffee in front of him. "A strange one. It felt like everything I believed in was a lie." He laughed, brushing it off. "Dreams are just dreams. What we have is real and perfect, right?" He kissed her cheek and walked out, off to his important meeting. As soon as the door shut, Marina dialed her best friend. "Alina, can we meet? I need to talk." The cafe greeted them with warmth and familiarity, but Marina could barely sit still. Alina noticed immediately. "You look awful. What's going on?" "Oleg is cheating on me," Marina blurted. "I saw the message on his phone." She called him her silk tiger. "Can you believe it?" "Tiger?" Alina flinched. Her fingers twitched against her cup. "Maybe it's a misunderstanding." Marina narrowed her eyes. Why did her friend look so rattled? Why couldn't she meet her gaze? The way she fidgeted like she knew something. No, Marina shook her head. "He thanked her for 2 days. He wasn't at work, he was with her. I thought he was working for us, for our future." "So what now?" Alina asked, still avoiding her eyes. "I'm taking the kids and leaving. Anton will be home from university this weekend. Maria is on a school trip. I'll pick them up, and we'll go to my parents. He can stay with his tiger. You sure that's the right decision?" Elena's voice was tight, almost defensive. "What's going on with you? Are you his lawyer now?" "No," Alina replied too quickly. "I'm your friend. I just don't want you to make a mistake." "This isn't a mistake. This," Marina gestured to her broken heart, "is a life he stomped all over." On the way home, Marina called her son. "Anton, I need you to pick up your sister from the excursion after school and go to Grandma and Grandpa's. Don't ask questions now. I'll explain later." He hesitated. "Is everything okay?" "It will be once I know you're both safe." She threw clothes into suitcases like her life depended on it. The scent of Oleg's cologne still lingered in their bedroom, once intoxicating, now suffocating. In Maria's room, Marina wiped away a tear as she folded her daughter's favorite pajamas. How could he do this? How could he destroy everything we built? As she wheeled the bags to the hallway, she remembered Maria's. Tomorrow was Monday. She'd need her books. "Damn it," she muttered, loading the car and turning back toward the house. Night had fallen. The house was eerily quiet. Marina found the backpack quickly and slung it over her shoulder. She was just about to slip out the back door when click. The sound of the front door unlocking. Her heart thundered. He's back. Too early. There was only one escape, through the kitchen. But then, voices. One male, one female. Playful, intimate. "Tigress, why are you so nervous?" She didn't move. Couldn't move. The truth wasn't just unraveling anymore. It had walked right through the door. Oleg's voice was calm. "Marina doesn't suspect a thing." "I'm not so sure," a woman's voice replied, low and uncertain. She was acting strange today, like she knows something. That voice. Marina froze. Her blood turned to ice as recognition clawed through her chest. That voice, she would know it anywhere. Aliona, her best friend. The haze in her mind shattered at the sound of footsteps. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Someone was coming up the stairs. Their stairs. The stairs leading to her and Oleg's bedroom. Marina stood motionless in the dim hallway, each creak of the wood stabbing at her nerves like a dagger. Every step echoed with betrayal. He once carried me up these same stairs. The memory struck, like lightning, fighting through the numbness. She moved. Legs were stiff, heavy as if filled with molten lead, but she forced them forward, one step at a time. Using the wall for support, the bedroom door was ajar. Led soft whispers, muffled laughter. She inhaled sharply and pushed the door open, her hand slamming the light switch. The room exploded in brightness. Oleg and Alyona froze like animals, caught in headlights. His shirt was half undone. Her hair was a tangled mess. "It's not what you think," Oleg stammered, practically leaping away from Alyona. Alyona said, "Nothing," her eyes wide, terrified really. Marina's voice was ice. "And what exactly do I think, Oleg?" "We were just," he started, but Marina cut him off. "Just checking how strong our bed is. How thoughtful of you." Inside, a storm raged, but outside she was still controlled, like a ghost, watching someone else's life unfold. "Marina, please," Alyona finally spoke. Marina turned to her. "Her friend, I listened to you for 20 years, Marina said coldly. "Every time, you told me how lucky I was, how perfect Oleg was. Tell me, how many years have you been sleeping with my husband, friend? Let's just talk calmly." Oleg stepped forward. "Don't," she said, raising her hand. "I don't want your excuses. I have them all on my phone. Your sweet little messages. My tigress, my silky tiger. How poetic." Oleg's face drained of color. "I've packed my things," she continued. "The kids are staying. With me you two can enjoy your zoo." She turned and walked out, legs trembling beneath her but head held high. Oleg chased after her. "Wait, Marina, please. It's not what it looks like. Let's talk." "About what?" she snapped, grabbing her suitcase. "The lies, the fake business trips. The way she comforted me while you were off with her. You love me. Maybe you should have told that to your tigress." She flung the front door open. The car tore through the night, headlights slicing the darkness. Marina gripped the wheel, but her vision blurred, tears clouding the road. Thoughts spiraled in chaos. Oleg, their first kiss at university, their wedding, the kids being born, every birthday, every holiday, and always there, beside her Alyona, her best friend, her maid of honor, her children's godmother. How could I not have seen it? That question burned more than anything else. Then the fuel light blinked on. "Perfect," she muttered, veering toward the nearest gas station. Fluorescent lights lit up the empty station. The small convenience store still had its lights on. She filled up, then walked inside to pay. Behind the counter stood a tall man with a neatly trimmed beard. "Tough night?" he asked, taking her card. "What makes you say that?" She replied, a little too sharp. "Most people don't cry while pumping gas," he said calmly. She instinctively touched her face. Her cheeks were damp. "Sorry," she murmured, trying to smile. "Bad day. You could say that. Coffee on the house." "No, really, I insist," he said, with a gentle nod. "I'm Igor, owner of this place. And apparently, the night shift cashier too. Judging by those eyes, you've got a long drive ahead, and fatigue behind the wheels a bad companion." 5 minutes later, they sat at a tiny table in the corner of the shop. Marina didn't know why, but she began to talk. 20 years of marriage," she said, voice quivering. "And she was always there, always." Her hands trembled as she held the coffee. "My best friend, godmother to my children, the one I trusted most." "Sometimes," Igor said gently, "those we trust the most can cause the deepest pain." He handed her a napkin. "I always thought our marriage was solid. We met at university. It was this beautiful, romantic story. But now maybe it was all fake. Not everything that ends badly was bad from the start," Igor said softly. "You have your children, that's real." For the first time that night, Marina smiled. Really smiled. "Do you always give life advice at gas stations?" "Only two people who cry while filling up," Igor grinned. "Where are you headed at this hour?" he asked. Marina looked out into the dark highway. The future's still unclear, but her heart just a little lighter. "The kids are already there, but I'm not sure this is a good idea. Mom always used to say, a good marriage is built on a wife's patience. But what do you think?" "I believe a strong marriage is built on honesty, and we never had that." Before parting ways, they exchanged phone numbers. It was Igor's idea. "Just in case you ever want to refuel your car, and maybe talk about life again," he joked. Marina returned to her parents' home, welcomed by dim light and silence. Everyone was already asleep. She crept into her room and collapsed onto the bed. Still fully dressed, she was awoken the next morning by the smell of her mother's pancakes and her daughter's cheerful voice. "Mom, wake up. Grandma says it's time for breakfast." The whole family had gathered at the table, her parents, her daughter Maria, her unexpectedly home from university son Anton. And Oleg. "What is he doing here?" Marina asked icily as she stepped into the kitchen. "I invited him," her mother replied firmly. "You need to talk. We have nothing to talk about." "Children, go play in the garden," Grandma interrupted briskly. "The adults need to talk." Once the children were gone, Marina turned to her mother. "Why did you do this?" "Because a family must be saved," her mother said flatly. "All men stray. What matters is they come home." Marina was stunned into silence. "Your mother's, right?" her father chimed in unexpectedly. "Family is everything." Marina stared at them both. "You can't be serious." The rest of breakfast passed in strained silence. One by one, the others left the table until only Marina and Oleg remained. "I still love you," Oleg began. "What happened?" Marina cut him off. "What happened destroyed 20 years of my life, and it wasn't just the affair. It was betrayal twice over. I can explain, don't bother. I'm filing for divorce." That evening, after Oleg had left, her mother came into her room. "You're making a mistake. All men do this, and all women are supposed to just accept it." Marina asked bitterly. Her mother looked away. "Your father cheated on me years ago. I forgave him, and now we live happily." Happily? Marina studied her mother. "Is that what you call this?" Before going to bed, Marina took out her phone. She stared at Igor's number for a long time, hesitating to call. Eventually she set it down on the nightstand and walked to the window. The moonlight traced her silhouette. Somewhere deep inside, a strange feeling was beginning to stir. Maybe this was the start of something new. Morning came slowly at her parents' house. The old clock ticked lazily. The floor creaked under Marina's feet as she made her way to the kitchen. The scent of last night's dinner mixed with fresh coffee in the air. Couldn't sleep. Her mother, in a worn-out robe, appeared in the doorway. "Not after everything you said yesterday," Marina admitted, pouring herself a coffee. "Why didn't you ever tell me about Dad?" "Some things aren't meant to be told," her mother said stiffly, "especially to children." "I'm 40, Mom. I'm not a child anymore." "Then stop acting like one. You're throwing your marriage away over a fling." *A fling, Marina snapped. "With my best friend." "It wasn't a fling. It was betrayal." Their argument was interrupted by the doorbell. "It's Oleg," her mother said. "I invited him. Again. You just won't stop, will you? He's the father of your children. You owe it to them to listen." Marina sighed but didn't argue. 10 minutes later, she and Oleg sat on a bench in the family garden. The apple trees were just beginning to bloom. The air smelled of fresh grass and renewal, a stark contrast to the slow death of their marriage. "I messed up," Oleg said, his wrinkled shirt and unshaven face hinting at a sleepless night. "And I won't ask for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it." "Then why are you here?" Marina asked, her tone cold. "Because you deserve to know. I still love you, Andalina." Oleg went silent, lost in thought. "It's complicated," he finally muttered. "No, it's not. It's simple." Marina stood. "You either love both of us or think you do, but I won't be part of that triangle." "Marina, 20 years, they were good years," she interrupted again. "But they're over. I'm filing for divorce." She found her mother in the dusty living room, where family photos stared down from the shelves, judging. "So you're letting him go," her mother said, disappointment heavy in her voice. "What was I supposed to do? Beg him to come back? You should have fought for your family, like you did." Marina snapped. "Suffer in silence. Don't you dare judge me." Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "You think it was easy, watching your father fall for someone else, pretending everything was fine. But why?" Marina's voice was a whisper. "Why endure it?" "Because I loved him," her mother replied simply. "And I loved you. I didn't want you growing up without a father." Marina fell silent, shaken by the raw truth. "Did you ever think about leaving?" she finally asked. "Every day," her mother confessed. "But then I looked at you and I couldn't. And now, are you happy?" Her mother paused. "I'm used to my life. Happiness is an illusion. It comes and goes, but family, that stays." Marina shook her head. "For me, what stays is self. I can't live with a man who betrayed me with her." "And what will you tell the children?" "The truth," Marina said firmly. "They deserve that." Talking to the kids was harder than she expected. Anton, serious and quiet as always, sat on the bed in his old room, absent-mindedly touching his sports trophies. Maria, impulsive and emotional, was drawing something in her sketchbook. "I need to talk to you," Marina began, "about the divorce." "Do you know?" Anton asked bluntly. She looked at him in shock. "I'm not blind, Mom, or deaf. The whole house heard your argument last night." Maria slowly lifted her head. "Dad cheated on you with Aunt Aliona." Marina let out a breath. "How could he?" Maria exclaimed. "She's your best friend." "People make mistakes," Anton said quietly. In that moment, he looked more like his father than ever. Same thoughtful eyes, same furrow between his brows. "Cheating with your best friend isn't a mistake. It's a choice," Maria shot back. "And choices always have consequences. I don't want you to hate your father." Marina looked at her children, her voice trembling. "He still loves you. Do you still love him?" Anton asked. Marina hesitated. "I don't know what I feel anymore, but I do know I can't stay in this marriage." "Grandma says you should forgive him," Maria noted. "Grandma has her own view of marriage." Marina answered gently. "I have mine. I'll support whatever you decide." Anton squeezed his mother's hand. "Just don't torture yourself, okay?" In her childhood home, Marina sat in her father's old study, unpacking boxes brought from the house she'd once shared with her husband. One box held a dusty photo album, yellowed pages of university days. A young Oleg smiling, Marina, radiant, and Aliona was standing slightly apart, her eyes unmistakably fixed on Oleg. How could I not have seen it? Marina thought, flipping through the photos. 2 decades of friendship built on envy and silent longing. A buzz startled her. Her phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. "Hello," she said cautiously. "Good evening," a deep, familiar voice replied. "It's Igor, from the gas station. I hope I'm not being intrusive." "No, not at all." Marina found herself smiling unexpectedly. It's nice to hear a friendly voice. How are things at your parents' place? I'm settling in, but it's temporary. I've filed for divorce and I'm looking for an apartment. That's a bold move, Igor noted. Most people would still be unsure. I'm not unsure, Marina admitted. For the first time, everything feels clear. Before Igor could respond, a knock echoed through the hallway. A moment later, her mother appeared in the doorway. You have a visitor, she said coldly. A pale face stepped into view, dark circles under tired eyes. It was Alyona. Sorry, I have to go, Marina said quickly into the phone. I'll call you later. She turned toward the woman she had once called her best friend. What do you want? I need to talk, Alyona whispered, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Please, Marina, I have to explain. Explain how you slept with my husband, or how you lied to my face for years. I loved him, Alyona said quietly. Even before you two met. Marina froze. Alyona sat down, visibly shaking. I fell for Oleg in our first year of college, but he chose you, and I stayed close. I stayed friends with you. Marina stared at the woman she had trusted with her life and didn't recognize her anymore. You stayed close, Marina repeated slowly. You became my best friend just to stay near him at first, yes. Alyona lowered her eyes. But then I really did grow to love you as a friend. That wasn't fake. But you still slept with my husband. It only happened recently, Alyona's voice broke. 3 months ago at his company's party. We both drank too much. Spare me the details. Marina cut her off sharply. I'm not trying to justify it, Alyona said. I just want you to know it wasn't an affair. It was a mistake. Marina let out a bitter laugh. A mistake. A mistake is dialing the wrong number. Or grabbing milk instead of yogurt at the store. Sleeping with your best friend's husband. That's betrayal. Double betrayal. I know, Alina whispered. And I hate myself for it, but why? Marina's voice cracked. Why him? Why now? I don't know, Alyona whispered. First love, it doesn't let go. Did it ever cross your mind? Marina asked coldly, that maybe he used you. Alyona flinched. What do you mean? All these years, you stood there, eyes glowing for him. That feeds a man's ego. And when the opportunity came, he took it. No, that's not how it happened. Alyona shook her head. He really what? Marina interrupted. Loves me, Alyona said nothing. Then why is he begging me to come back? Marina stepped closer. He's been showing up, pleading, swearing it was a mistake, that he still loves me. Alyona looked like the ground had vanished under her feet. He said that. Marina leaned forward. What did he say to you? Alyona's fingers twisted the hem of her sleeve. That he loved me, that he was going to divorce you. Silenced. Marina stared at her. God, we're both fools. You because you spent 20 years waiting for him to notice you, and me because I spent 20 years not noticing what was happening right under my nose. A pause hung heavy in the room. What are you going to do? Alina finally asked, barely a whisper. Alina spoke barely above a whisper, her voice trembling. Divorce, start over. And you? I don't know. She looked lost. There was no trace of the confident woman Marina once knew. I always imagined that if Oleg and I ever ended up together, it would happen differently. Marina narrowed her eyes, heart pounding. Do you really believe he'll choose you? Alina met her gaze with quiet sincerity. Why not? He always came back to me after your fights, when he needed advice, when he felt alone. Stop. Marina raised her hand. Her voice was sharper than she intended. Are you saying there was something between you before? Alina fell silent. A flicker of regret flashed in her eyes, as if she'd revealed too much. Answer me, Marina demanded. Not physically, Alina rushed to clarify, but emotionally. Yes, we've always been close. He told me things he never told you. Marina felt her stomach twist. A slow creeping nausea spread through her chest. It wasn't just about betrayal, it was the shattering realization that her entire marriage had been built on a lie. Not just infidelity, but a connection between her husband and best friend that had always existed in the shadows. Leave, she said quietly, then louder, her voice breaking. Just leave, Alina. I don't want to see you. The door clicked shut behind her. Marina collapsed onto the table. Memories swirled in her mind. The university days, that first spark with Oleg, Elena always there, their wedding where Elena had been her witness, the births of their children, the vacations, the holidays. How much of it had been fake? How much had gone unsaid? What else didn't she know? A gentle knock on the door pulled her from her thoughts. It was her mother. She's gone, her mother asked, stepping into the room. Marina nodded wearily. What? Did she want to say that she loved Oleg even before you two met? Marina's mother sat beside her. And you believe her? Marina shrugged, her voice hollow. Why would she lie now? Everything's already ruined. Her mother sighed, the weight of unspoken years in her breath. What are you going to do? What I said I would. Divorce him. I was afraid you'd say that, her mother whispered. Don't make the same mistake I did. Marina looked at her, confused. But you stayed with Dad. Exactly, her mother said softly. And every day since, I've asked myself, what if I'd left? What if I'd found the courage to start over? But you always told me. I told you what I forced myself to believe, her mother interrupted. That I did the right thing. That family was everything. That happiness was a childish illusion. Marina stared at her. For the first time in years, she didn't see the strict, old-fashioned woman she'd grown up with. She saw a person with doubts, pain, regrets. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I see myself in you," her mother said. 25 years ago, I was in your shoes. I made the right choice. I stayed for you, and maybe that was a mistake. Maybe I showed you that a woman must always endure, must stay silent, must live in the shadow of a man. But you were strong," Marina whispered. Her mother gave a bitter smile. "Strength isn't silent endurance. Strength is daring to change your life even when it terrifies you. It's admitting you were wrong and starting again." Marina blinked, stunned. "So you think I should leave Oleg?" "I think you should do what I couldn't. I think you should choose yourself." They sat together in silence, mother and daughter, divided by time but joined by pain. Outside, a storm began to rumble. Fierce cleansing. Marina's phone rang again. "It's Igor," she said, glancing at the screen. "The guy from the gas station." "Answer it," her mother said gently, holding her hand. "And remember, life doesn't end at 40. Marina took a deep breath. She picked up the call. Something inside her whispered, this could be the beginning. The courthouse was cold, its marble floors, echoing every footstep like thunder. The wooden benches, worn smooth by countless stories of heartbreak and justice, looked too solemn for something as raw and personal as divorce. Marina sat straight in her tailored suit, hair pinned back, every inch the composed woman. But inside, she was in turmoil. Across from her sat Oleg, shoulders slumped, a shadow of the man she once loved. The weight of their unraveling lives seemed to press down on him like stone. "We'll begin with the division of assets," the judge announced curtly. Marina's lawyer began listing their requests, methodical, precise. But then Oleg interrupted. "I'm giving everything to the kids," he said, voice steady. "What?" The lawyer looked stunned. "The house, the cars, the accounts, everything. It goes to them, I insist." The judge raised an eyebrow. "You realize this is far more than the petitioner asked for?" "I do," Oleg nodded. "It's my decision." Marina stared at him, trying to read his face. Was this remorse, manipulation, or something else? Then movement at the courtroom door. Her breath caught in her throat. She slipped in quietly and took a seat in the last row. Marina noticed it instantly, how Oleg's face changed. Instead of the joy she had expected, there was something else in his eyes. Something distant, cold, almost like a stranger. 6 months later, Marina stood in the middle of her new apartment, trying to absorb the fact that this was now her home. The boxes were still unpacked, but signs of a fresh start were already taking root. Fresh flowers on the windowsill, children's photographs pinned lovingly to the walls. "Mom, where should I put this box?" Anton asked, holding a crate full of dishes. "In the kitchen, sweetheart," Marina replied with a soft smile. He looked so much like his father at that age. The same movements, the same tilt of the head. "Look what I made for our new living room." Maria beamed, holding up a vibrant painting of an abstract landscape. "It's our new beginning," Marina said, wrapping her arms around her daughter. "Beautiful. Just like our life right now, colorful, unclear, but full of promise." The doorbell rang. "I'll get it," Anton offered. At the door stood Igor, holding a modest bouquet of wildflowers and a bottle of wine. "I hope I'm not intruding," he smiled. "Just thought I'd drop by with a little housewarming gift." "Perfect timing." Marina gestured for him to come in. We were just about to take a break from all the unpacking. Over the past few months, Marina had seen Igor a handful of times. First, it was just quick coffee breaks. Then, longer conversations. He never rushed her, never pushed. It was as if he understood she needed time. "These are my kids," Marina introduced them. "Anton, and this is Maria." Anton shook Igor's hand, cautious but firm. Maria, on the other hand, was more open. "You're the Igor from the gas station?" she asked. "Mom told us how you helped her that night." "Helped is a bit too generous," Igor chuckled. "I just offered her some coffee." "Sometimes a cup of coffee can save the world," Maria said seriously. That evening, when the kids had retreated to their rooms and Igor had gone home, Marina found herself unpacking a box filled with old belongings. At the bottom, wrapped in a faded ribbon, was a stack of letters. It took her a moment to recognize the handwriting. They were from Alyona, neat, elegant letters in blue ink, all addressed to Oleg. The earliest one was dated August 11th, 1998. "Oleg, I don't understand why you're not replying. It's been 2 months since you left. I check the mail every single day." Marina sifted through the envelopes. All were from Alyona, all sent a year before Marina and Oleg ever met. In the final letter, Alyona wrote, "I've made peace with your silence. Maybe our love only mattered to me. Goodbye, I won't write again." Attached to the letter was a photograph, a young Alyona and Oleg smiling, their arms around each other, standing in front of an old wooden fence. They looked in love, carefree, like they belonged. They had known each other before university. Why had neither of them ever mentioned this? Sitting in the familiar living room of Oleg's childhood home, Marina watched her mother-in-law pour tea into delicate porcelain cups. The house hadn't changed, the well-trimmed garden, the wicker chairs on the bright veranda, only she had aged, her silver hair pinned neatly, her hands trembling slightly. Why did no one ever talk about this? Marina asked. Oleg didn't like to remember. Her mother-in-law sighed. She was his first love, and it ended painfully. What? It happened. We moved when he was 16. My husband's job was transferred. Oleg kept writing to her, but she never replied. Later, someone told him she had found another boyfriend. He was crushed. But she did write back, Marina whispered. I found her letters. She waited for months. A stunned silence followed. Her mother-in-law's brow furrowed. That's strange. He swore he sent letters every week. Then his friend saw her with another boy, and that was it. Oleg shut down, and then he saw her again, at university. A nod. He was shocked. She acted like he was a stranger, cold, distant. And then he met me. Marina finished another nod. I was revenge, Marina said, her voice barely audible at first. Maybe, her mother-in-law answered honestly. He wanted to show Alyona he was fine, that he had moved on. But later, Marina, he loved you. I've never seen him as happy as he was in the early years of your marriage. Marina looked away. Her throat tightened. Then why did he go? Back to her? I don't think he went back, her mother-in-law said gently. Alyona never left. She was always around, always waiting. She was the shadow of his past. And when a man hits a certain age, those shadows can feel like shelter. The room went still. Her marriage, once the perfect story of love at first sight, was now something else. A careful construction, maybe a lie, maybe not. I shouldn't have told you this, her mother-in-law said softly. But you deserve the truth. What's happening between them now? Marina asked. Nothing. His mother sounded genuinely surprised. Oleg avoids her now. Says she ruined his life twice. In a quiet park near her home, Marina sat beneath a sprawling oak tree, the wind rustling through the branches above her. The bench, the air, the silence. This place always helped her think. She was trying to make sense of it all. Had their marriage been real, or had it all been based on a lie from the beginning? She didn't even know what she felt anymore. Anger came in waves, washing into bitter sadness, followed by an eerie sense of clarity. Her thoughts tangled and untangled as the wind whispered through the leaves. Then her phone rang. It was Oleg. Can we meet? He asked without any greeting. I need to talk to you. About what? Her voice was cold, guarded. About our past. There's something you should know. Marina hesitated. Why go back into the wounds that had only just begun to scab over? It's important, he urged. I've wronged you, not just by cheating. There's more, please, Marina. Evening shadows fell across her apartment when the doorbell finally rang. She opened it to find Oleg standing there, older, somehow more transparent. The years had caught up with him, but there was something else too. A quiet, solemn resolve. Thank you for agreeing to see me, he said, stepping inside. Just say what you came to say, Marina replied firmly. She wasn't going to make this easy for him. I found this. He handed her a weathered envelope. I think it explains everything. Inside was a faded letter. The ink had bled with time. It was from Elena's grandmother to her mother. Elena. It's still hung up on that boy. I intercepted all 5 of his letters and never gave them to her. Let her believe he forgot her. She needs to focus on her studies. Besides, that Sergei is from a good family, not like Oleg. Marina's breath caught. She intercepted our letters, Oleg said quietly. All these years, neither of us knew. We thought the other had just stopped caring. Where did you find this? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. At Elena's house, after you walked in on us. We talked, really talked, for the first time in years. She asked her mother to look for the old letters, and they found this. And now what? Marina asked, trying to sound indifferent. Will you and Elena finally be together, like you dreamed of when you were young? No, Oleg shook his head slowly. It explained the past, but it didn't change the present. What happened between me and her was a mistake. A desperate attempt to reclaim something that never really existed. And our marriage, Marina looked him straight in the eyes. Was that a mistake too, a way to hurt her? He dropped his gaze. At first, yes, I saw her at university. She acted like she barely remembered me. I was angry, humiliated. Then I met you. Bright, open, nothing like her. And I thought, this is perfect. I'll show her I'm happy without her. A sharp lump rose in Marina's throat. So, everything. Our marriage, our children, 20 years of life, was it all revenge? No, he said, looking up at her with unfiltered sincerity. Maybe it started that way, but I fell in love with you, Marina, deeply. You became my whole world. Elena was just a shadow of the past. Then why, she whispered. Why did you destroy it all? A midlife crisis. Stupidity. Ego, he said bitterly. She always looked at me like I was her entire universe. I wanted to feel that again, to feel young again. And did you? She asked, her voice sharp with grief. No, he admitted. Instead, I realized how foolish it was, and how I ruined the only real thing I ever had. Marina stood still, the silence between them heavy and final. Why tell me all this now? She asked. What are you hoping for? I don't know, Oleg admitted. Maybe forgiveness. Or maybe I just needed you to know the truth. That what we had was real, despite how it began. She turned to the window. Autumn leaves spiraled, in the wind, golden and brittle. So much had changed in 6 months. Not just her world, she had changed. I can't go back, Oleg, she said at last. There's been too much pain. Too many lies. I understand, he said with a slow nod. I just wanted you to know. When the door closed behind him, Marina remained by the window. Leaves danced across the pavement, fragile as memories. The season's first frost kissed the glass, a quiet reminder of how delicate love could be and how sometimes the strongest thing a person could do was let go. Her phone buzzed. A message from Igor. Dinner Saturday, just you and me. No talk of the past. A smile tugged at her lips. She typed back, would love to. It's time to start a new chapter. The soft light from the lamp cast a golden glow over the living room. The ticking of the clock punctuated the quiet, but there was no weight in it anymore. No ache, no panic, just calm. Marina wrapped a warm shawl over her shoulders, picked up her phone, and dialed. Are you awake? ChatGPT said. Do you want me to come over? She asked, instead of saying hello. For you always. His voice held a smile. Oleg had come by earlier, confessed everything about Alyona, about how their affair started, and even how her marriage with him had begun under a lie. How do you feel? Igor asked gently. Strange, Marina admitted. Like I've just closed the final page of a very long book. It's sad that the story is over. But there's a strange relief too. At least now, everything's clear. Want to meet up? Igor offered. The kids are home. Marina smiled. But tomorrow, I think it's time I learned more about you than just Igor from the gas station. I'd like that, he said. There's a place I want to show you. The next day, Igor met her at a small cemetery on the edge of the city. He held a bouquet of white chrysanthemums in his hands. I want you to meet Natasha, he said, gently motioning to a neat grave with the photo of a young woman. My wife, she died 5 years ago. A car crash. Marina stood silently, her eyes fixed on the smiling face in the photograph, light hair, radiant eyes full of life. She was only 30, Igor continued, laying the flowers carefully. We were together for 8 years. We dreamed about kids, made plans. I'm sorry, Marina said, softly touching his arm. For the first 2 years, I was just surviving, Igor said quietly. Work, home, cemetery, no friends, no hobbies, just memories and pain. What changed? Marina asked. One day I realized Natasha would have hated the life I was living. She always said, life is movement. If you stop, you're already gone. For the first time during their conversation, he smiled. She was a wise woman. She was. He nodded, adjusting the flowers. So I started small. Bought that gas station. Took up photography. Little by little, I learned to breathe again. He turned to Marina, and then one day a woman pulled into my station with tears in her eyes, and turned my whole world upside down. You're exaggerating, Marina said, flustered. Not at all, Igor took her hand. When the future is stolen from you, you start to treasure the present and the people who enter your life. We walked out of the cemetery in silence. The day was overcast but warm, the golden kind of autumn. I still talk to her, you know, Igor said as they got into the car. Tell her about my day, ask for advice. Maybe it's foolish. Not at all. Marina shook her head. I think she's still a part of you. Yes, he nodded, eyes on the road. But not the part that holds me back anymore. She's the foundation I'm building something new on. He turned the key in the ignition. You know, I think she would have liked you. At home, Marina was greeted by the smell of food. Her mother was in the kitchen cooking dinner. Where are the kids? Marina asked, surprised by the neatly set table. Anton took Masha to a modern art exhibit. Her mother replied, turning from the stove. I thought we should talk, just the two of us. Marina sat down cautiously. Her mother turned off the flame and sat across from her. About us, she said softly. About the things I got wrong. About what exactly? Marina asked carefully. Everything, her mother said, spreading her hands. About how I reacted to your divorce. About how I pushed you to keep the family together. About how I didn't support you when you were hurting. Mama, no, let me finish. She raised her hand. All these years I lived by rules I created for myself. A woman must keep the family together at any cost. All men cheat. A woman must endure. I was so afraid of being wrong, I forgot the most important thing, happiness, yours and mine. Were you ever happy with Dad? Marina asked quietly. I was, her mother said after a pause. In those rare moments when I forgot about his betrayals, but those moments became shorter and fewer. She looked into her daughter's eyes. I don't want you to end up like me 30 years from now, sitting alone and wondering, what if I had chosen differently? Marina was silent, stunned by the raw honesty. This Igor, her mother, said gently, changing the subject. Is he a good man? I think so. Marina nodded. He's a widower. Today he introduced me to his wife. Well, to her grave. Her mother gave a thoughtful look. That's a serious gesture. It means you're not just someone passing through. We're still just getting to know each other, Marina said with a soft shrug. No expectations. No pressure. Wise. Her mother smiled. You know, watching your strengths these past few months, I've learned something too. It's never too late to start over. She straightened in her chair. I've decided to volunteer for a nature expedition to Lake Baikal. I've always wanted to see it, and Dad Marina asked in surprise. He can decide for himself, her mother replied firmly. Whether to join me or stay behind. I'm done building my life around his choices. That Saturday, Marina agreed to have dinner with Igor, just the two of them. No past, no pain, just now. He invited her to his home, a cozy little cottage on the edge of town. Bookshelves stretched to the ceiling. A vintage globe sat quietly. In the corner, Marina looked around and smiled. This is exactly how I imagined your home. Predictable, he teased, pouring wine. No, she corrected. Recognizable. Like you, calm, reliable, with character. And here I thought I was mysterious and unpredictable. He sighed playfully. Not to a woman with experience. She raised her glass. To new beginnings. To not being afraid of them, he added, clinking his glass with hers. After dinner, they sat on the veranda watching the first stars flicker into view. You know, he began. Igor spoke quietly, his voice tinged with reflection. When Natasha died, I thought I'd never be happy again. That the part of me capable of love died with her, and now, Marina asked, barely above a whisper, now I understand. The heart can love more than once, each time differently, but just as sincerely. He took her hand gently. I'm not in a rush, Marina. Let's take it slow. Let's get to know each other day by day, no pressure, no expectations. Marina intertwined her fingers with his. I like that idea, she said softly. That Monday, back at work, Marina wasn't expecting the woman standing at the entrance to her office, Eleni, elegant as always, though her face showed traces of weariness. Do you have 5 minutes? Alina asked without a greeting. They sat down on a small bench in the park across the street. Two women who were once inseparable, now divided by a chasm neither of them had ever imagined. I'm leaving, Alina said. I got a job offer in St. Petersburg. Congratulations, Marina replied, carefully neutral. It's not just about the job, Alina said, staring at the passing cars. I realized I've destroyed the only things that truly mattered, our friendship, and any real chance I had with Oleg. It's time to start over. Does Oleg know? Marina surprised herself with the question, unsure why it mattered. Alina nodded. He wished me well, said it's better this way for everyone. Marina stayed quiet, unsure of what to feel. The rage she had carried for so long began to shift into something else. A strange, quiet sympathy. Alina had spent 2 decades waiting for a love that never really existed the way she imagined it. You know, Marina finally said, I spent so long thinking I hated you, but now I realize mostly I feel sorry. Sorry. Alina looked surprised. You clung to a teenage crush for 20 years. Missed your chance to build something real, to create a family, and for what? For a man who loved an idea in his head, not the real you. I know, Alina gave a sad smile. The irony is, when I finally got what I wanted, I realized it wasn't what I needed. She stood up. Goodbye, Marina, I hope you'll be happy. And you? Marina watched her walk away, shoulders squared, stride steady. For the first time in 20 years, Alina seemed completely honest, with herself, and with the world. A year passed since the divorce. Autumn returned to the city, but this time, it didn't feel to Marina like a season of loss or endings. It felt calm, mature, beautiful in its clarity. Her new home, a cozy townhouse, no longer a small apartment, was filled with life. Tonight, she was hosting a family dinner. Mom, the salad's ready. Maria called from the kitchen. Great, sweetheart. Marina finished setting the table. Her parents were the first to arrive and somehow, younger after their expedition to Lake Baikal. Her father had surprised everyone by going along, and that trip seemed to breathe new life into their relationship. Marina, you look radiant, her mother said, embracing her. Happiness suits you. Next came Anton with a girl he nervously introduced as Katya, shy dark-haired architecture student. She smiled, clearly anxious about meeting the family. Katya, don't believe the scary stories Anton told you about me. Marina laughed, hugging her. I'm not nearly as strict as he makes me sound. He only said good things. Katya smiled. That you're the strongest woman he knows. Last to arrive was Igor, carrying a bottle of wine and a photo album from his latest travels. Sorry I'm late, he said, kissing Marina. Traffic. The living room buzzed with conversation. Her father was showing Anton and Katya pictures from their trip. Her mother was deep in discussion with Maria about her plans to apply to an art college. Then came a knock at the door. It had to be Oleg. He'd said he'd stop by briefly to pick up the kids for the weekend. Marina opened the door. He looked good, thinner, healthier, dressed better. He'd taken up sports and started a new life. Their relationship had settled into something respectful and peaceful. He was still a good father, and he kept his distance from Marina, understanding fully that their story had ended. Hi, he said, handing her a box of chocolates. Your car said you're having a family dinner. We are, Marina nodded. Want to join us? Not tonight. He shook his head. I've got plans. Just came to say hi to the kids and sort out the weekend. Are you doing okay? Marina asked. Yeah, he smiled. Started a new project. Got into skiing. Things are looking up. I'm glad, she said, and meant it. She said it with quiet sincerity. When Oleg left, Marina returned to the guests. Igor was helping Maria place the last dishes on the table. Anton was animatedly sharing a funny story from university, making Katya laugh out loud. Her parents, smiling warmly, flipped through an old photo album of Igor's. This is my happiness, Marina thought, scanning the room. Not the kind I imagined a year ago, but real, and maybe even more precious because of it. After dinner, as everyone began to head home, Marina stood by the window, watching the peaceful street outside. Igor came up behind her and wrapped his arms gently around her shoulders. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "About the road that brought me here." She smiled faintly. The pain of betrayal, the shock of truth, the bitterness of disappointment, and how, without all of that, I wouldn't have found this peace. "Life's a strange thing," Igor said softly. "Sometimes you have to lose what you thought was happiness to discover what real happiness actually is." Marina turned toward him, her reflection in the window catching the quiet smile on her face, one filled with peace, forgiveness, and hope. The new plants on the windowsill, the mended photo on the wall, the rearranged furniture, little signs of change, of healing, of a life being reshaped. "I don't regret anything," she said, looking into Igor's eyes. "Every loss, every hurt, it all brought me here. To this moment, to you." Igor kissed her gently, and Marina felt the warmth bloom inside her, a calm, quiet joy she hadn't known she'd been longing for. Sometimes life tears things apart so something new can take root. The spring crisis gave way to summer struggles, autumn acceptance, and winter clarity. And now, a new spring was beginning, one of renewal and second chances. Dear listeners, how did this story touch you? If it moved you even a little, let us know by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world and helps us bring more heartfelt stories to life every day. Take care of yourselves and each other. Be happy always.